It is Wednesday night, March 2nd, 2022. The go-home show for AEW Revolution coming up on Sunday, March 6th at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Tanner Lee along with my co-host Paul Zartman, who has the KOP Predictions title across his shoulder for what is going to be the last time, possibly in 2022. Paul, how
No,
are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. Just making sure my belt knows where its home is, which is, right over my shoulder, not at your house.
Well, enjoy keeping it over your shoulder while you can, because
Oh yeah, it'll
TikTok,
be there for a
TikTok,
while.
time's a ticking. But we got a lot to cover tonight, so let's get right
Oof.
into it. Paul, Tony Khan making a rare live appearance on Dynamite tonight. I think it's the first time we've seen him, besides just a short little snippet during a backstage attack or something. Or I
Yeah,
think it's the first time we've seen him since the Brody Lee tribute episode.
yes. I almost wanted to say making his television debut, but then I remembered the Brody Lee tribute. Apart from that, normally it's just the backstage segments, and he normally doesn't say anything. It's
Right,
just a quick, oh crap, I'm on camera, hightail it out of here.
right.
Yeah, he was in the ring tonight. Tony Schiavone welcomed him. He started off by saying, thank you to all the fans who have helped AEW start 2 years ago. It all started right here in that parking lot out there. And now here we are through a pandemic. Thanked everybody who has worked during the pandemic and supported AEW during the pandemic. And then he goes on to say stuff about Revolution, Rampage Friday night. Says, normally I'm the one keeping everybody on time. So we're going to get right into this big announcement ahead of Rampage and ahead of Revolution. And that is 20 years ago, a company started, and he has officially bought said company. And that company is Ring of Honor. So Tony Khan now owns two wrestling companies.
Awesome announcement. Surprised me. I had heard the rumblings that could be the case, but he didn't really. Of course, he wasn't going to really give too many tips of what it was going to be on his Revolution media call today. Which I apologize for everybody that usually listens to that through our podcast. Didn't get an invitation this time for some reason. I did reach out to AEW, so hopefully we get back on the list because I enjoyed taking part of those. I did Double or Nothing. All Out and Full Gear last year. So I was hoping to round them out this year with Revolution, but I don't know. Did not get the. I checked my email, checked my spam. I have no idea what happened there. But anyways, he didn't give any tips there that what exactly the announcement was going to be. And ROH just last night was announcing a card or some of a card for their April 1st event going on. So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, it's not going to be ROH. They're obviously going to be still in business. And Fightful earlier this week reported that ROH was looking to get $40 million for the company. And when I heard that price tag, I'm like, heck, WCW sold for like $3.5 million or whatever it was back in 2001 to WWE. I'm like, I don't think Tony's going to buy that. Last week I thought it was be a super show on
Yeah.
New Japan, Impact, AEW, and then you text me earlier tonight. You're like, still think it's going to be the Super Show? I'm like, no, I think it's going to be in a streaming agreement with HBO Max. And
Which
I
would have
was
been
wrong.
spectacular.
Which I still think that's coming down the pipeline. I really do. But
I do too, because there were mentions throughout the show tonight several different times from commentary about HBO Max. And normally when that happens, there's talk.
But it was indeed Tony Khan purchasing another wrestling promotion, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, independent wrestling promotion in the world. What's this mean going forward? I really don't know. We can speculate, but before we do that, one thing I think that's pretty cool is you got to think going back to 2018, All In, Ring of Honor paid for the production of that show. Without that show, there's no AEW. AEW then takes off, kind of puts ROH out of business, and now Tony Khan buys ROH. So it kind of goes full circle.
In a good way, though. In a good way. Because we're not going to see what we saw in 20 years ago, 21 years ago, where Vince bought WCW, Shane bought WCW, and they shut it down. Right. We're not going to see that here. I think We're going to see a lot of talent cross brand here between ROH, AEW. It opens up, if there have not been a lot of re-signings for ROH, it opens up a spot for a lot of these guys on the roster to go that way. We talked last week, a week after the announcement from Cody, that there were rumors that Cody might be going to ROH and might try to buy ROH. Guess that's not the case now.
When I saw that $40 million price tag, I'm like, I don't think he's going to be buying ROH.
Probably not. But, there was still some speculation that at least he was going for that creative control that he was looking for, that him and TK kind of butted heads about.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know what the plans are for ROH. I mean, he gets everything. He gets the, which their contracts, I believe, are all up. Maybe there's a couple that run through March, but I think they're pretty much all up. But he gets the tape library, which is huge. So he now gets the rights to All In, which is a big deal.
Yes.
If he wants to make ROH a separate show, he's going to have to find a TV deal.
Yeah.
That's easier said than done.
Maybe not for him with his Turner deal already in the works.
Yeah.
Or not in the works,
want
but
to
in
add
place.
yet another show. I don't know. I don't know what comes out of this. I mean, I'm looking at it. It's going to be a good thing no matter what, but I'm just thinking it opens the door for more talent and more of the tape library than anything. He can use it as a feeder system, but that's kind of what Dark and Dark Elevation are kind of for anyway. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see how this transpires.
And, here's the thing. You've seen BTE this week, right?
Right.
Okay. At the end of the episode, they make reference to, again, they're taking stabs at another company with Matt Hardy's drug test.
Yeah.
They make reference to putting him in the ROH Hall of Fame.
Right.
So the Bucks knew this was coming.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as EVPs, they should know it's coming.
Right.
But I think that was a little hint that nobody caught until TK said, I just bought ROH.
Well, and ROH, of course, came out with their Hall of Fame list that has Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Samoa Joe, the Briscoes, I believe.
The Briscoes.
Yeah, I mean, this opens up opportunity for tons of dream matches, tons of interesting matches. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't know what his plans are yet, but it's definitely should get Vincent Kennedy McMahon's attention a little bit, I would think.
Absolutely. After TK makes the announcement about buying ROH, he says 20 years ago, in the first ever main event of ROH was between Bryan Danielson and Christopher Daniels. And 20 years ago, they didn't get a winner in that match. So we get to kick off Dynamite this week with the conclusion of that match.
You definitely didn't see that being the show opener tonight, but it was a fun surprise.
So right off the gate, less than 20 minutes into the show, we've got an ROH announcement and CD on my TV. It's a great night for Dynamite.
Yeah, I didn't think this is how we'd see him return to Dynamite, but
no.
Well used.
So before the match starts, they both shake hands and head to their corners. The crowd starts immediately chanting Fallen Angel. Danielson poses in the middle of the ring. Danielson takes Daniels down with a shoulder tackle. Danielson takes Daniels down and hits him with an arm breaker. Daniels knocks Danielson outside the ring, and a lot of back and forth action between these two, and a lot of Daniels takes down Danielson. Danielson takes down Daniels. So even the commentators were getting confused on who was who throughout the match. They called Danielson Daniels 3 or 4 different times, at least, that I caught. Towards the end of the match, Danielson and Daniels exchange pin attempts, and now they exchange strikes. First, Danielson hits Daniels with a rolling elbow strike, goes for the pin. However, Daniels kicks out. Daniel goes for the top rope Hurricanrana, and now Daniels goes for best moonsault ever. Danielson counters it immediately into a triangle sleeper. Paul Turner calls for the bell, and Danielson gets the victory. After the match, though, is where things got even more interesting. Danielson cuts a promo talking about his first match in Ring of Honor, and the match would start with a handshake and end with a handshake. Danielson says, "I'm not in Ring of Honor. I am in AEW, and it's time to kick someone's head in."
Knew that was coming.
Oh,
That was coming.
see, I just felt bad for CD though, because it was in the same side that the Young Bucks busted his eye. So I mean, that poor guy.
Probably off TV again for a while.
Let's hope it's not another year. um, and then after he's done, Danielson says the same will happen to Moxley this weekend, which of course results in Moxley's music hitting. He comes down and says his story is just beginning and he is writing the story, and the first chapter will be written in blood. Moxley then challenges Danielson to go. Moxley rips off his coat, his sweatshirt. They look like they're going to. Danielson immediately drops, rolls out of the ring, and heads to the back.
Can't wait for this match on Sunday. It's going to be a fun
Man,
one.
it's been a semi-quick build, but it's been a good build quickly. So this is one of those that the moment they even hinted at it, I was all for it, and I'm ready for Sunday on this one.
Definitely one of the tougher ones to predict, and we'll go through our Revolution picks at the end of this podcast. But this was a tough one to pick the winner of and put confidence points on. So
I think I flipped the coin.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Next, we get a backstage promo from Darby Allin and Sting. They're cutting a promo for the upcoming AEW Rampage match for the TNT Championship.
Triple threat: Andrade, Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin. That should be a fun one.
Ooh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking more forward to that than I am the 3-on-3 tornado tag, first tornado tag match in AEW history at Revolution. Sting, Sammy, and Darby versus Isaiah Cassidy, Matt Hardy, and Andrade at Revolution. I want the TNT title featured in a match. I don't want the champion to be in a tornado tag match. I'm not too much of a fan of that, to be honest.
Well, okay, so I've learned from you. I started watching a lot of vlogs.
Mm-hmm.
You do a lot of the podcast. I'm more vlogs guy now.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Danhausen's vlog from this week,
mm-hmm.
and he had the bunny on there because he was on the Bunnies podcast where they were tasting
Oreos.
Yeah, and they joked back and forth about the HFO trying to go after Danhausen, and she said it's actually the AHFO, and you don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah. Lose a
and
lot.
Then went, we lose a lot. It's like little pause there. You want to out of it? I mean, are you only in it now because your husband?
mm-hmm.
Up next,
I think it'll be just Andrade's faction here in a couple of weeks.
Oh, I think so too, because the greatest tag team of all time
is up a week from tonight.
Yes. So, and again, that was hinted at BTE. If so this Hall of Fame, is this just for me and then built around me, or is this for me and my brother as the Hardy Boys? Oh no, this is just for you. Then I don't want any part of it.
Yeah, it's a bad kept secret. He's coming.
Oh, especially when that fan broke the video. Turns out he wasn't supposed to release that video of them talking.
You could tell it was just fishy. I mean, you could tell Jeff didn't know he's being recorded, which is messed up.
Yes. So up next was probably the biggest match, the longest match of the night.
I thought this would be the opener, to be honest, before the show.
So did I, but I think it was supposed to be, but then TK decided he wanted to make the announcement tonight and wanted those two to finish their match. So I think that's kind of all got changed.
Yeah.
And that is the tag team casino battle royale, done in typical battle royal rules, where two teams enter, 90-second intervals, another team enters.
Yeah, a little different from last week.
We see our first team come out of being FTR. And before they announced that that's how it was going to work, I was like, okay, we're going to get the first two teams. We'll go to commercial break. We'll come back. Everybody will be in the ring.
Right.
That's how I thought it was going.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of glad I didn't, because a very big return happened after FTR made their way to the ring as Top Flight's music hits for the first time in over a year.
Mm-hmm.
both Darius and Dante Martin are in action in this tag match, and I am
Awesome
super
to see them
stoked.
back together. Awesome to see Darius back on TV. You forget how talented of an individual he is too. I mean, Dante's flourished this past year without
Right.
him, and Darius is a special talent too. Those guys are going to have gold in the next 2 years.
Any way they want it.
In the next 2 years,
And here's the thing. It may have been a while and he had a little bit of ring rust, but
not
it didn't
much.
look like he had missed much.
No,
With as young of a talent as he is anyway, and as new as these guys were, I wouldn't have guessed anything different from them.
you remember going back to the Daly's Place pandemic era in 2020. Remember how impressive they were against the Bucks in that debut
Yes.
match? It's
Yes.
Like, geez.
Oh yeah, and
they've
we
only got
both
better.
after that initial debut, we both said these guys are great. They're going to have gold. Of course, we said give them 2 years then, and well, we lost a whole year.
Right. And those are two guys back then. And I will admit, I have been bad at watching Dark and Dark Elevation. I thought it'd be a lot better when it was debuted, but it's a lot to watch. Even when I watch it, it's kind of background noise, or I kind of fast forward to the matches I just want to see. When
I'm
that all began, they were two talents I made sure I watched on Dark and Dark Elevation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm not going to go through all of this because there was
there's a
so
bunch
much.
to recap.
But the next team to come down is the one I wanted to talk about, and that was the Unclaimed, because Max Caster cuts another great rap as he always does every single week.
And the pop they got. Goodness.
Oh man, I was not expecting that. I mean, we all know everybody loves the Acclaimed, or so they claim, but tonight you saw that.
I mean,
Bailey's place went crazy for these guys.
I mean, they're both Bowens and Caster are talented in the ring. Caster's so talented on the mic. His raps are always good. They get oohs and ahs from the crowd. I mean, yeah, who doesn't love the Acclaim?
Exactly. And of course, Max Caster's rap takes shots at ROH, WWE, and Glenn Jacobs.
Rightfully
Man,
so.
Yes, I've seen those tweets that he's referring to. Wow.
Yeah, like Hangman
that's
said,
all I'm
too
saying.
many chair shots to the head.
Yes. But yeah, a lot of back and forth action. As we get towards the end of the match, we come down to the Bucks, Top Flight, and FTR being the final three teams, full teams at that. FTR is quickly eliminated. They take out Dante pretty quickly. So then you've got Darius left with the Young Bucks.
Well, FTR got eliminated because of Red Dragon's interference.
Well, yeah. I wasn't going to mention those guys.
Sure.
I mean, I have to. They were very helpful in the elimination of FTR again.
2 weeks in a row.
Yes.
Planting some seeds there.
You think?
It would be cool to see FTR as a babyface team.
Yes. I got to go back here to when Danhausen came out from under the ring and cursed Evil Uno. Now, if you've watched Danhausen's vlogs, these two have been going back and forth. They're friends. So
right.
Uno was completely confused as to why he would curse him. And Danhausen just acts like he has no clue who he is. Trent gives him the thumbs up, which is amazing because Trent said there were too many people in the best friends and Danhausen needed to go.
He just doesn't like Wheeler Yuta. Let's get
yeah. Yeah, he doesn't like Wheeler Yuta either. He wants him out of there too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it comes down to Darius and Matt Jackson. And again, a lot of quick action between these guys. Darius just barely misses the win here.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens when Matt hits Darius with a low blow and then hits him with a super kick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Young Bucks win and will now face Red Dragon and Jurassic Express for the AEW Tag Team titles at AEW Revolution. And I got to say, the last 2 minutes of this match, I thought this bad boy was going to your house tonight.
Scared you a little, didn't it?
I told you if somehow the Bucks, by a miracle, the Bucks lost tonight, this belt was yours. Ooh, thank you, Matt.
Well, today on Twitter, some fan was asking Dax what he's going to do if they didn't win tonight, and he told the fan they'd retire. He and Cash if they didn't win tonight. So
Wow. We'll
Didn't
watch.
win.
We'll watch for that.
Yeah. So
See if they
another
stick to it like SCU did.
another little part of the match I want to bring up is Proud and Powerful eliminates 2.0. 2.0 turns around and eliminates them.
Eliminates them.
So
Yeah.
Matt Lee didn't like that he got a little taste of elimination tonight.
That was pretty spot on. I gotta say,
it's a last name there. See,
you just need to get a little angrier
Yeah.
and a little more Boston in you.
yeah, I gotta admit those guys are growing on me. They are growing on me. They're pretty entertaining
On BTE.
on BT. Yeah, and their vlog and their podcast pretty good too. So.
See, I haven't watched their vlog
Yeah,
or the
it's
podcast
good.
yet.
It's
Man, I'm gonna have too many podcasts and
Oh,
vlogs to watch at this point.
that's the beauty. AEW, they got so many talents that are with vlogs and podcasts.
Yes.
I listen to podcasts at work. All I listen to is wrestling podcasts because I just got it covered. So I can't get enough.
So many.
Yep.
Jericho, we now see Jericho backstage cutting a promo about the upcoming match against Eddie Kingston at Revolution. Jericho says if Kingston beats him, and he will get his undying respect. Proud and Powerful appear. Jericho says, ask them if they are good, and they both nod in agreement. So I don't know. I think they might be okay, and we might start to see the Inner Circle come back together again.
There was an interesting interview this week Jericho did. I forget who it was with. And it was pretty much a shoot interview. And he said he and Eddie Kingston really don't like each other. He said they'll be professional in the ring, but he says he does not care for Eddie Kingston. And a lot of the things he said on last week's promo were things he really felt. So pretty interesting.
Doesn't surprise me. Jericho's not one to hide a lot of stuff.
No,
and
he's a
he'll
guy.
let you know.
There's a lot of guys that have rubbed, Jericho's rubbed the wrong way too over the past years. So
yeah. Cult of Personality hits next.
Yes,
which is always nice when Punk's on TV.
And I gotta admit, I had to go back and watch this whole promo a little bit because I missed it in live time because a darn college basketball game I was interested with got really interesting. 41 seconds left, so I flipped over to that, and then crazy stuff happened in the game, and I'm like, well, now I got to watch the end of this. So I was trying to flip back and forth. So then I'm like, crap, I missed a lot of the promo, so I had to go back and rewind it. So I did watch it, and it was good stuff.
Well, don't leave me in the dark here. Who was playing and who won?
Rutgers and Indiana, and Rutgers hit a 3-pointer with 2 seconds left to win the game.
Wow.
But Rutgers looked like they had it won with 19 seconds left. Indiana fouls the Rutgers kid, and Rutgers kid punched the Indiana kid and got kicked out of the game, which gave Indiana the ball, 2 free throws, or gave Indiana 2 free throws and the ball, and Indiana ended up tying it from all that.
Wow.
And then Rutgers ends up winning anyway. So
wow.
It was wild. I don't know what the Rutgers kid was thinking. If he just lets Indiana foul him, they win the game, and he kind of threw his arm at him, and it was crazy. So I'm like, I got to watch how this unfolds. But then I'm like, I want to listen to Punk. I'm like, that's when we need the old split screen, picture in picture on my television.
Yes,
come on,
the old
TV
school way.
Bring those back. Come on, we got every other technology feature. Come on.
TBS is doing it on a every Wednesday basis. Come on, rest of you guys, get in, add that back to the TV.
Yeah, come on now.
Oh, I miss that.
I do too.
That's how I used to watch the Monday Night Wars a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So Punk starts off by saying all week long he's been asking himself, "Am I the bad guy?" Up until a week ago, I thought I was a good guy. Punk talks about MJF, says he does not know if MJF is sincere. He talks about his famous photo with Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he then says, I didn't act this way when Austin up and left. Since he's been there, he's seen MJF attack Dean Malenko. Punk says Malenko is suffering from Parkinson's. MJF verbally assaulted the late, great Brian Pillman. Punk calls out MJF. MJF comes out. Punk tells MJF about all the things he's done. Punk says, hurt people. And Punk says to MJF that somewhere there's an 11-year-old kid who looks up to you the way you looked up to me. They hugged it out.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised. They hugged it out.
For a minute.
And then Punk holds out his hand. MJF hugs him. Punk gets hit with a low blow. MJF hits Punk with the heat seeker. MJF tells the Pinnacle to come out. They do. Wardlow hands the Dynamite diamond ring, and MJF hits Punk with it. Busted him wide open.
Big old gusher.
I'm not 100% sure that was supposed to happen.
There was a knot on his head, a legit knot when the camera went in. So I think he was supposed to get some color, but I don't think it was supposed to get that much color. I think he had a gusher. That was a lot of blood. That was as Doom, who has been a guest on our show, tweeted us. He said that was a little too much blood for him. He had to look away. That was getting there for me. I get I get a little queasy if there's tons of blood. If it's like Eddie Guerrero against JBL, Great American Bash style blood, that was a lot.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that man, memories.
Ooh. Yeah, that's hard to go back and watch. That's a bang right there. That's a bang.
Yes, absolutely. But kind of I've over the years, I've learned how JBL says things. When somebody gets color, normally JBL's like, "Oh, he's bleeding all over the place." He truly sounded shocked, which is what led me. It was oh my God, he's busted open.
You mean JR? You said JBL.
Yeah, I meant JR. You said JBL, so it was stuck in my head.
Yeah.
JR.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. So the way JR responded kind of is what led me to go, okay, I don't think this was truly supposed to happen this bad.
But I thought this was fantastic. MJF wipes the blood on his t-shirt, which is a white t-shirt, has the picture of him and Punk from that autograph signing.
Yep.
When he was young. And he said, "You old man, I'm a snake." Compares himself to the devil. And that snake part is from one of Punk's old ROH promos he did.
Yes.
Years
ago. Which tells you that MJF truly did pay attention.
Which MJF's promo last week was one he had cut before in MLW, but he took to another level last week. So just all really good stuff. Can't wait for the dog collar match Sunday, but it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yes. So
we have a comment here, Paul, before we move on to the next segment.
All right.
YouTube from D Star. He said Tony Khan's announcement was a letdown for me.
I would like, if you're still watching D Star, I would love to know, what did you think the announcement was?
Or what would you have liked it to be?
Right. Or what would you like it to
super
have been,
show or a streaming deal with HBO Max, or if you're still watching, please let us know.
Yeah, because I'd love to, because I might agree with you if that was the type of announcement that could have been a letdown, if that's where I was leaning towards.
Yeah, and when these type of announcements happen, you're not going to make everybody happy.
So no.
Teach their own.
At some point you're going to get somebody who's upset over it.
In my opinion, this is my personal opinion, I think Tony finally came through with a huge announcement. A lot of times his announcements aren't as big as he hypes them up, and this one was pretty big.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty big announcements that just ended up being Keith Lee.
Yeah. Or the one I'll never forget is, and good segue there. Sorry, I just cut you off. The one I'll never forget is when he hyped up it was going to be a industry changing whatever it was. It ended up being Pact Return on television that one time. It's like
yes. So. But like the biggest free agent out there, Keith Lee, and it ended up being Keith Lee, who we see backstage go to cut a promo. He's interrupted by Starks, and he tells Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs that this is twice now that Starks has interrupted him. And if there's a third time, there's not going to be anything left of Starks to interrupt with ever again.
I just can't wait to see Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs go at it on Sunday. They're in the face of the Revolution ladder match, and Wardlow in there, and just some big meaty men. It's going to be fun.
If I'm in that match, I'm standing back, letting Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs destroy each other, Wardlow as well, and Ten's in that match.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. He was supposed to be Starks.
Ricky Starks is in that match. Orange Casting, then it'll either be Ethan Page or Christian Cage.
Yeah, it'll be Page.
Which is going to be Christian's first match in 2022.
Exactly. Be his first match since he lost to Jungle Boy.
You think Ethan's going to be Christian?
I do. I do.
I think Christian will beat Ethan. So.
Eh, Christian's been too much of a manager for Jurassic
Yeah,
Express. So if he's in that match and he gets beat up, he can't accompany them to the ring or at least walk out with them.
unless that tag match is before the ladder match.
True. True.
But and speaking of Ethan Page, real quick before we move on, congratulations to him on his vlog today. He announced that he is moving to America from
Yes, I
Canada.
saw that.
So very cool. Good for
Yes,
him.
it is his American dream.
Yes, it'll make it easier for him and his family and for his travels and for his career and everything. So,
Yep, and he'll come
awesome
through
for him.
Detroit Airport.
That is one guy since AEW signed, started watching his vlogs from the beginning when he signed with AEW last year, become a big Ethan Page fan. I really like him. Seems like a great guy.
Although I didn't know until I was watching Danhausen's vlog this week that DDP was his uncle. Unless that was
it was a
okay.
joke. It was
Okay.
a joke. Yeah, he ribs on that. So
Okay, just checking there because I was like,
just like
wait
Hangman's
a minute.
cousin, things like that. So
No, that one
Yeah.
I knew,
the
but
Pages, yeah.
the
Yep.
DDP thing I could almost see. But anyway,
Yep.
up next is a tag match, our women's tag match, and it's normal 9:20-ish slot.
Yeah, a
Dr.
little earlier, 9:30.
Yeah. That's why I said 9:20-ish. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter, accompanied by Rebel, take on Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez, which I'm not going to lie. I texted you about this because I thought Mercedes was going to turn on Thunder Rosa.
Well, on Rampage, I mean, you've seen Britt and Jamie and Rebel beat up Mercedes, and she's kind of sided with Thunder Rosa. So that's how
Well, I
this
thought
match.
maybe it was just kind of a whole big ruse just to
big plan.
make Thunder Rosa feel safe around Mercedes, and then boom.
Yep.
Which we've seen done before.
Sure.
Before the bell rings, all four women begin fighting. Mercedes Martinez and Britt Baker start things. Baker takes Martinez down to the canvas, tags Jamie Hayter. Martinez makes it over to tag in Thunder Rosa. Rebel gets involved with Rosa, and now all four women are fighting in the ring as we go to a picture-in-picture commercial break. See, there's that picture-in-picture reference again. Come on, TVs. We come back from the break with Martinez getting the hot tag from Thunder Rosa. Martinez hits Hayter with a suplex. Hayter hits Martinez with a backbreaker, and Baker hits Martinez with a super kick. Baker tries to go for the lockjaw, however, Martinez avoids it, tags in Thunder Rosa. Baker and Rosa are exchanging strikes. Rosa hits Baker with the Death Valley Driver. Finally, Rosa hits Baker with the Fire Thunder Driver and pins Baker to win.
Yep. Fun match.
Yes, it was. It was a fun match, and I can't wait to make our predictions, and I'll give more info on why I made some of my predictions coming up here in a little bit.
Yep, that's going to be a great women's match between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker on Sunday. So
absolutely. We go backstage. Ty Conte says she will challenge Jade Cargill for the TBS Women's Championship. Jade Cargill and Smart Mark appear, and Cargill attempts to set Conte off, but Anna Jay holds her back. Smart Mark says if you touch one hair on her or one of her green hairs, you lose your title shot.
Yep.
Is it truly green? It looks more like a blue-green to me.
Yeah, I thought it was like a turquoise-ish. I don't know. Aquish. Okay. I don't know. She changes it a lot. So
she does. A vignette now appears promoting the upcoming match between Statlander and legit Layla Hirsch.
Yeah, that's
this is a rivalry that's been fun to watch.
Yeah, on Rampage, big time. It looks like this is going to be part of the pre-show for Revolution, as is Hook and QT Marshall. So.
Hey, Hook's on a pay-per-view.
So let's go ahead and predict those two matches because we did not put them in our confidence points. I'm going with Statlander and Hook.
I agree with you perfectly.
Yeah.
Hook's not losing, especially to the likes of QT.
No.
Now, did you say Marshall or Marshall?
Marshall.
Okay. All right. Just
checking. I've heard of both, so I go with Marshall.
It is both, and I've even on Sammy's vlog where QT's on a lot, or used to be, it's been back and forth. So it's interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
Up next is Wardlow in action.
God, he's so fun to watch.
Oh man, I always like watching Wardlow in the ring, and anytime he's on, I stop what I'm doing and I sit down.
And I like how Friday on Rampage he went against Nick Comoroto, and tonight it was Cesar, but
Benoni.
Benoni. Thank you. I knew I was going to screw that up. So I like how he's going against bigger guys now too.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it's not just complete. Well, I mean, they're still squash matches, but
Right,
they're
but
more believable now.
against guys more his size. I mean, it's more impressive now.
Yeah, and can we talk about the fact that he's now being introduced as Mr. Mayhem Wardlow?
Yep, and it's on a
Not
T-shirt
just
too. They
Wardlow.
printed this week, so I
That's
like it.
great. I
Yep.
like the evolution of the character.
It just reminds me so much of a young Dave Batista, and I know he'd love that because
Oh,
Batista
yeah.
was his guy growing up.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Lacey, he idolized him. You can tell it because the
Oh
way he
yeah,
moves in the
by
ring
his
is a
move
lot like
set and
Batista.
everything, his
Yep.
look. Yep.
Cesar Benoni hits Wardlow. However, Wardlow comes back and hits Benoni with a power bomb. Wardlow does 2 more than pins Benoni. Spears enters the ring and tries to hit Benoni with the chair, but Wardlow stops him. They get into each other's faces and Spears backs away. And
Beautiful.
at this point, well, not at this point, it was another backstage segment that I'm not seeing in my notes here. Before the main event, after we promoted Rampage, we see Wardlow backstage with Sean Spears, and MJF comes in and says, if you win the Face of the Revolution match and you somehow beat the TNT champion, which I don't think you'll do, I'll let you keep the belt. And at that point, I text you, seeds for sale. AEW has seeds for sale, only 1 diamond.
Yep. And then as MJF walks off, Wardlow says, I've been too busy making sure you win matches. MJF goes up, smacks him in the face, says, remember, you work for me, not AEW. I can make it to where you and your family are back on the streets and all this stuff. And Wardlow just kind of grins. And then I'm like, all right, so let's get him against Spears, then him against MJF, shall we?
Yeah, I think it'll be after Revolution.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think Tony Khan on another interview this week said we will see some story like we do every big pay-per-view. We'll see some stories finish Sunday and some new ones emerge coming out of Revolution. So,
which is how it should be every single time.
Yep.
TK gets it.
Yep, especially when you have 4 pay-per-views a year. That's how it should be.
Exactly. Finally, it's time for the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Cole, Red Dragon, versus Hangman Adam Page, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds. A lot of history between 4 out of the 6 men in this, as Silver and Reynolds keep trying to figure out what Budge is doing, and Budge is siding with Red Dragon now for part of the time.
Yep.
But so a lot of back and forth action during this match, and I mean a lot. A lot of times Cole didn't want to get in there if Hangman was in there.
As it should be. I hate when rivalries come to tag matches and they have them lock up and touch too much. I want to save that for the big event.
Yep, it's just like when Cole tagged in and said, I want him now, as Page was down on the mat and looked like he was out. And then Page just shot up and got right in his face.
Yep.
So, it was a great match. Towards the end of the match, Reynolds gets the tag. Reynolds hits Cole with a running knee strike. Cole comes right back, nails Reynolds with 2 super kicks, and then Cole hits Reynolds with the boom. Cole pins Reynolds and gets the win. After the match, Cole and Red Dragon begin attacking Page, Silver, and Reynolds. Red Dragon duct tapes Page to the ropes, as commentary is saying, they're trying to make sure he can't make it to Revolution no matter what. Pointing out that Cole is a coward, as, all heels always are.
And Shivani can't stand him. Anyways.
Exactly. Yeah. I wonder why. Baker. Now all 3 men start beating down their competitors. Cole hits Reynolds with the Panama Sunrise. We see Adam Cole and Red Dragon stand tall and pose as the show goes off the air. And I do want to say, Cole goes out, gets the belt, comes back into the ring, unstraps it, puts it on Page's shoulder after he super kicked his head off, and says, this now belongs to me.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mhm.
was perfect.
Yeah, it was a good close to the show.
Perfect. Yes.
Yep.
Although I gotta say, this is really the poses are really starting to remind me of another, undisputed thing that we used to see a lot of
Undisputed era.
that I was hoping we were going to get away from.
No, I don't think you can get away from that. So
Well, I'm okay with them being together. Switch up the poses a little bit. I mean, they go straight to the undisputed era pose
yeah,
every single time.
yeah,
Even if Cole tries to do something different, Red Dragon's always in the same spots with the same pose.
yep.
Anyway,
That's what made him.
it is what made them. So, before we dive into our predictions here, Tanner,
Yep.
wrestler of the night.
Darius Martin is my wrestler of the night. He returned on Dynamite. He went to the final two down with Matt Jackson. It was impressive all night. Glad he's back on my TV.
Yes. Well, since you went with my pick, I'll have to go with my other pick, even though he is a loser. I got to go with him. CD, Christopher Daniels,
Yep.
the Fallen Angel, back on TV.
There was one thing we missed in the recap. Vignette from the House of Black tonight.
Oh, yeah, I did miss that. I
don't remember exactly what was said, but what I liked about it was all three members spoke. Malachi spoke, Brody spoke, and Buddy Matthews spoke. And Buddy looks more to the part this week, all black in a necklace. Just very eerie and creepy, and I really enjoyed it. I always think they do a good job with these vignettes.
I liked at the very end of the vignette how, it's because we're the House of Black and the house always wins.
Yes, and they did a word.
It was, yeah. And it was kind of like Black was in a trance.
Yep.
And then snap to say wins.
Yep.
I really like that because it's like almost like, when he's in that trance, he's controlling the other two and what they say because he was in that position anytime they were talking. Right. So it was neat.
It's interesting. They're not on the card at all for Sunday years, Penta or Pac, but I wouldn't be surprised if the House of Black show up somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Well, they'll be there at some point, I'm sure.
Some chaos. Yep.
Maybe during a triple threat match or something,
Could be
for tag titles or something. I mean, who knows? Mm-hmm. Who knows? All right. Your overall rating.
Yeah, good show. Another solid show after last week. Last week I gave it a 9. I'll go 8.5 this week. Another solid one. Didn't quite enjoy it as much as last week, but it's still, I don't have too many complaints.
I'm right there with you with that 8.5. Yeah, there were just, I know it's the go home show. So, you're always going to get those vignettes and to build it up. And that's what they always do with the House of Black is every week, even if they're not in the ring, they're cutting a vignette. So you always remember them. So you're always thinking about and always talking about the House of Black. So, yeah, I'll give it an 8.5 this week.
Yep. All right, let's get into our Revolution pick, shall we?
Yep. Get prepared to lose as after Revolution, we will be sending out a tweet that says, and still KOP
Debatable.
predictions champion.
Debatable.
We'll see.
And just to reiterate that we are not doing the two pre-show matches in this. So we went 1 through 9, 1 being our least confident, 9 being our most confident. So we'll start off with what I'm guessing was both of our I saw your picks, so I know it's both of our number 1 picks. The Face of the Revolution ladder match.
Yeah, this is one of those that's really hard to pick, but because of all the seeds that have been planted, I had to go with Wardlow, but I only went with one because there's so many people in this and we don't know the final competitor yet. So anything is possible in a match like this.
I went with the exact same Wardlow for 1 point. First, I was thinking Keith Lee, maybe, because they like to have new signees win this match. But then I'm like, you're just like you said, there's been too much talk about the TNT title with MJF and Wardlow. Too many seeds planted. Wardlow having squash matches every week just makes sense to pull the trigger on him now. But also another reason I went with 1 is before tonight when we end up finding out that Christian Cage and Ethan Page are going to be battling for that final spot. I thought it might be a new signee or a surprise.
Right.
So, Gargano or who knows, one of the ROH talents now. I'm like,
Yeah.
since I don't know who exactly is going to be that sixth person, I'll just put 1 point on it. So I went with
Yep.
Wardlow for 1 as well.
All right.
Next, let's go with the TBS title match: Jade Cargill versus Tay Conte.
I went with Jade Cargill for 5 points on this.
I went with Jade Cargill for 9.
Ooh. I mean, I'm confident she's not losing, but there were some others that I was a little bit more confident in.
This would shock me more than anything if she loses. She's got the undefeated streak. Tay's great and all. That belt's not coming off Jade anytime soon. I just think this is a no-brainer.
Okay.
Next, let's go with the Tornado Tag match. The AHFO, Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy versus Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Sting.
I went Sting, Darby, and Sammy for 4 on this.
I went with Sting, Darby, and Sammy for 8.
Ooh.
Another one I'd be very surprised if in this case, if the baby faces lose.
All right.
I see you looking at that, getting a little nervous. I see you.
Yeah, I am getting nervous here.
Throwing some big shots out there right away. It could make or break me early, though.
I know. Especially if this is the order everything goes in.
Yeah, I'm just.
We could be halfway through the pay-per-view, sending out, and still.
I'm trying to think of the order I think it may go, but I'm probably way off.
Right.
Let's go with Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston.
I think this is going to shock you that I did. Well, you've already seen my predictions, but I think it'll shock you. I went with Eddie on this one for 3.
I was the exact same. Eddie for 3.
I don't see a point in Jericho winning this match.
He doesn't need it.
No.
And the story is Eddie can't win the big one. That's what Jericho's been saying, which we haven't seen Eddie win the big one. So why not now?
But of course, I made this prediction before I knew that Jericho said that they really don't like each other.
They don't,
but I mean, they're going to be professional about it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a heck of a match because Eddie wants the Chris Jericho that was the AEW champion. He wants that version. But my question to you is, yeah, exactly. My question to you is, I mean, we're in agreement. We think Eddie's going to win, but what do you do after Eddie wins that? How do you elevate him? You can't throw him in the title picture.
No. You put him up against some big names.
In AEW, the good thing is they can put you in a good story without the title.
Exactly. And whereas I think that's what we'll
wrestling, if you're not in the title picture, you don't really matter. So, yeah, I don't know. And,
okay, so what do they truly do with him? He wins. Jericho gets mad at Santana and Ortiz for whatever reason. So they leave Inner Circle, join Eddie. Eddie now steps out of the spotlight into the manager role.
Or could that be a good opportunity to turn Jericho heel?
Yeah, it could be that too.
Again.
Yes.
All right. Next up, let's go with Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley.
I went Moxley for 2.
I went with Danielson for 2.
Okay. So it could all come down to this match.
Yeah, and this was the toughest one for me to pick a winner on.
It was.
Not necessarily confident point, but a winner. It was the toughest.
No, yeah, I knew my confidence points going into it were 2, but I literally flipped a coin to pick who was going to be it.
Yeah, I looked back to that Full Gear. Well, we were supposed to get Moxley and Danielson. I think they were going to have Danielson win that one. So that was kind of my reasoning behind this. But it'll be interesting to see, no matter the outcome, if they become partners or not.
Oh, man, I hope so.
Because I'm all for that with bringing up the young guys like Daniel Garcia and Lee Moriarty. Be awesome.
Top flight.
Yeah. All right. Next, let's go with the tag team title match. Jurassic Express, the Young Bucks we now know, and Red Dragon.
I went Jurassic Express 7.
I went Jurassic Express for 4.
Okay. Now, see, here's the thing. When I sent you this, we didn't know for sure the Bucks were going to be involved.
Right.
I had a really strong feeling about it, which is why I said if for some odd reason they lose, you get what's on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
But I think something's going to happen between Red Dragon and the Bucks that will allow Jurassic Express to capitalize and get the victory.
I think you're right. I think if Jurassic Express kind of stays out of it, lets the other two teams eventually go at it, then they get the victory. The only reason I put 4 was the only reason I'm like, if a team takes off Jurassic Express, I think it'll be Red Dragon. I don't think it'll be the Bucks.
Right.
If Red Dragon takes it off them, that'll be an indicator to me that Cole's going to take it off of Hangman, and their group, the Paragon or whatever they call themselves, are going to have all the titles, and it's a stab at WWE. See, your NXT guys, see what we're doing with them. They're champions now, so you couldn't even have them succeed on the main roster. So I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's interesting. Tony Khan was asked today by Sean Ross Sapp at Fightful about trio titles. Tony said he loves the idea, likes it better when Kenny Omega is back.
Ooh.
That's exactly what he said. He wants Kenny to be part of that. So, yeah, I think this is all going to twine together. I mean, I'm starting to think we're going to get Red Dragon versus Hangman and the Bucks. I think Hangman and the Bucks get back together, throw Kenny in there, throw somebody else in there, little blood and guts. Let's get it on.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
It's coming up soon. So
I'm okay with that.
All right, next, let's go. Let's go with the Women's Championship. Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker.
Britt Baker, DMD, 8 points.
Thunder Rosa, 7.
See, I wanted to do Rosa, but I think it's still too soon.
It's almost a year. She won at Double or Nothing.
Right. But every champion has served as champion longer than the previous.
Right. Thunder Rosa did win the street fight, but Britt got more out of it than Thunder Rosa did.
Yeah.
I think it's Thunder Rosa's time. That's what a lot of people on Twitter are saying too. So if not, I probably won't win the title if she doesn't win.
Hey, you know what? If Thunder Rosa wins, I will gladly just hand you the title, regardless of anything else, because I do agree it's her time, but I don't think it's this weekend.
I could see Hayter accidentally costing Britt to lose it, and that sets up their feud.
Okay.
Because there's been a lot of seeds planted. So
yes. All right.
All right. 2 more here. Dog collar match, CM Punk versus MJF.
I went Punk for 6.
I went Punk for 5. So especially after tonight, I'm really confident Punk's not losing. CM Punk already lost technically twice to MJF in Chicago. Punk's not losing this one.
Exactly. That was my exact reasoning for going with Punk.
Yep. In our main event for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole, baby.
Hangman Adam Page, 9 points.
I also went Hangman Adam Page, but for 6.
Yeah, I was just too confident. It's not time yet. It hasn't. Again, it goes back to that the champion always has a longer run than the previous.
Even though I do think that will be snapped. I don't think. I mean, Kenny held it for December to November. I don't think Hangman having the majority of 2022. But I agree. I think it's too soon for him to drop it yet. But the only reason I put 6 goes back to my reason why I only put 4 on Jurassic Express. It's that one image in my head. Maybe those 3 all hold titles at the end of the night.
Okay, I think it'd be Double or Nothing. If it's not Revolution where he drops it, he will drop it at Double or Nothing.
Well, you already know my prediction. MJF's got to take it off him.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get through the Punk storyline with MJF, and then Wardlow will turn on him. So then he'll turn his focus towards the big gold.
I hope so, because then that means my predictions for 2022 for the big gold are spot on. But knowing my luck and so I mean, Punk could get involved for the title. It's hard telling. There could be some other guys there too.
Yeah, still
and
a lot
new
of time
signees
left
that haven't been even part of the company yet. I mean, we do, a lot of moving parts. So
yeah.
Anything else you wanted to hit before we wrap this up? The world of AEW or professional wrestling itself?
No.
Any more thoughts on Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes?
Brandy's back in fighting shape. She's made that
Yeah.
very clear. I don't know, because she talked about ROH this past week on Twitter.
Well, they both talked about the Detroit AEW show.
Yeah. So
I don't
I don't
think
know.
Cody Rhodes does that if he's currently under WWE contract.
No, he's still a free agent.
I know Sean Ross Sapp said it's eerily quiet. Quiet right now. He says it's really strange. And he said that people close to Tony Khan or close to Cody Rhodes swear that it wasn't about the money.
Right.
Tony Khan had the money. Tony Khan talked about it a lot today and said they were trying to get a deal done that extended past the option years. Looked like it was something was going to get done, and then it just didn't. And he said he didn't. He pretty much, reading between the lines, said he didn't want to keep somebody around that wasn't happy.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what it was. So I really think it was something to do with creative, or I don't think it was money related. I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know. I mean, they aren't going to speak bad about each other. I think they're both kind of tired of talking about it. I still think Cody Rhodes ends up in WWE the night after WrestleMania. That's my prediction. Hope I'm wrong, but I think that's what happens.
Or it's all been a swerve because TK was under a non-disclosure agreement, couldn't talk about his purchase of ROH, and Cody is part of this whole thing and is part of ROH, and he's going to kind of be his guy, his helper.
Could be. I mean, that's, I think, more optimistic thinking. Yeah. Around, but
no, he's going. I've got a feeling he's going back to Vince, and I don't want to face that yet.
No, I don't believe for a second he's retired. I mean, I think he's just trying to swerve the fans there. So I don't know.
Yeah, because if he was retiring, he would have said it. It wouldn't have just been we couldn't come to an agreement, so I'm out. He would have said, we couldn't come to an agreement. I decided it's time to step out of the ring, out of the business, and just retire.
It's still just odd to me. I mean, going back to the pandemic, I mean, the original Blood and Guts was got to be the Elite versus Inner Circle. Then once that was called off, something happened behind the scenes because Cody it wasn't the same between him and the Bucks and Kenny. I mean, they can say what they want that they're business partners, but you could tell when those guys were on screen together on BT, they got along, they were good friends. Something happened. Cody went his direction for the TNT title, and then we never got any closure or never got any circling back the story. I think they left a ton of money on the table there.
They could have done so many things
with Cody and Kenny and Cody and the Bucks. And also, I'm bummed we never got to see the Arn Cody story play out.
I know.
The eventual turn of one or the other. Now Arn's stuck with his son and Lee Johnson. So,
well, not like that's a bad thing.
No, I mean, he's getting to manage somebody. It's just totally different than being in one of the biggest stories every week with Cody. So, and it's a shift with Scorpio, Ethan Page, and Dan Lambert, who finally were back on TV on Rampage. So.
Yeah, and now poof.
Yeah, and Paige Van Zant brought her in to do that thing with Brittany. Like, that's what doesn't make sense to me, Paul. Like, they were doing all of this. I don't think they would have done any of that if they didn't think something was going to get done. Like,
exactly.
Something happened. Something happened. I don't know.
And that's why the more and more I think about it, I lean towards that announcement tonight.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're going somewhere. Cody's been pretty silent on social media.
Yeah. He's back on Twitter now, which is interesting because he's with AEW the past half year or so. He wasn't on Twitter anymore. So
right now he did, do the whole "this is what retirement looks like."
Yeah.
But then days later, you've got Brandy posting a picture. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm ready to get back in it.
Yeah. Well, and he did have a thing about turning the next page. He put that on his Instagram story. I don't know. We'll see when's the point where you're going to come to grips that this isn't a big work or a swerve? When is it if he doesn't show up this weekend at Revolution? Is it if he doesn't show up in a week or two? Is it you're not gonna believe it until you see he's on WWE television? I mean, what's the
Oh, I mean, I no longer believe this is all a swerve, so to
Mhm.
speak. Um, I've already come to terms with that. He's
Yeah,
not going to be in AEW anymore.
yeah.
I'm over that.
Mhm.
Um, I cannot come to terms with him going to WWE. That will not happen until the moment he shows up on WWE television, not at
Mhm.
WrestleMania,
Mhm.
on TV.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do WrestleMania because I think they would be pr advertising right now with the way ticket sales are going,
Nah,
but I don't
nah.
know what they're doing there because, I mean, maybe they put him in a match with Seth Rollins, I guess, I don't know.
If he shows up at Mania, it's just going to be guess who. See you tomorrow night on Raw.
Well, I will say this, and then we can kinda close up. If he does go to WWE, this is a opportunity on a silver platter for WWE because they got arguably the face of AEW, and if they give him a big push, it could make WWE or AEW talent in the future at least consider making the jump when their contract's up. If they don't capitalize on this, then good luck getting any good talent from AEW ever again.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
it's a big
Yeah.
opportunity for WWE. So
Yeah.
I mean, if they put him back in the mid card or throw Stardust stuff on him or yellow polka dots like his dad, then they're not going to get any AEW talent. But if they give him a big proper push, maybe they do because 2024 is going to be a big year. MJF, Wardlow, some other big talents are going to be up in 2024.
I saw something this week that cracked me up. It was an old thing. It was an old clip from BTE where Cody's sitting there
Yeah.
drinking his hashtag FTR coffee,
Yep.
and there's a bag sitting next to him, and he says, "Hope it still fits." H
Yep. I saw that
opens it
too.
up, and it's the Stardust outfit,
Yep.
and he just the look on his face, and somebody put, "Well, this didn't age very well."
It makes me miss the old days of BTE. I mean, BTE is still a fun show
It
to watch
does.
now, but it's not anywhere close to what it was in 2018 and before that.
I gotta say, my favorite part of this week's BTE was probably the beginning
Oh, 100%.
because it
100%.
reminded me of the old days because Flip
Yes.
showed up, which we're not going to get into that whole scenario right now.
Which
But
makes
Flip,
sense why he showed up now after
yes,
tonight's announcement.
yes, he gets the crap kicked out of him by everybody on the BTE roster, which was a running thing in the old days.
Mhm.
And then Matt Jackson with the revival.
Yep.
That right there, I was like, that's BTE. Bring it back.
Well, and being outside WWE headquarters. Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was great. That was great. That was more the little edginess, the fun ribbing. Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
then they announced
Here,
their West
Adam, we
Coast
got you your
dates.
favorite drink.
Yeah. Yep. So maybe we'll get back to that slowly but surely.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yep.
That would be great.
Yep.
Maybe with
So
this ROH deal, that'll reignite something in the Bucks even.
good.
So
Good. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, this is a big night in AEW history. A big week.
I
Big
am
week.
glad to be a wrestling fan right now.
Yes, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. So much content to watch. Revolution coming up Sunday. Make sure you order that. They're having the Fan Fest. They're teasing new action figures are going to be announced this weekend. So, like they are every big pay per view. So, a lot of fun stuff going on this week. So, make sure you follow AW on all the socials, and of course, make sure you follow us. And Paul will give you all the details on that right now.
Yeah. Be sure to find us on all social media at Kicking Out Pod. And when you find us on social media, check out the links in our bio
Mm-hmm.
because you can buy some KOP merchandise from 2 different stores. All sorts of different stuff that you can get. You can get t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, zip ups, everything.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Paul, because starting next week, we're going to have a promo code. It's March Madness. So you use the promo Madness and you will get free
Ooh.
shipping on your orders from our store, not the Pro Wrestling T store, because unfortunately we don't have any control of that, but from our store, free shipping for the whole month of March starting next week. Promo code Madness, all caps.
And we'll tweet that out as that promo goes live. So again, be sure to be following us at Kicking Out Pod on all social media platforms. Be sure to listen to us wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if that just so happens to be Apple Podcast, give us a 5-star rating. I want to do it this way because I miss these days. And it was his birthday today or yesterday. So I'm going to do it. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast. Shout out to Booker T right there. Follow Tanner Lee on all social media at Tanner Lee 92. Follow myself at Paul Zartman 921. For Tanner Lee, I'm Paul Zartman. Join us again next Wednesday night as we kick out another episode of the Kicking Out Podcast, where I'm still champion. See you next week.